Well, from the hard court, let's shift over to the gridiron next. Week 14 of the high school football season quickly approaching with just a scattering of our area teams still standing. Quarterfinal action in the state tournament kicks off tomorrow with Northwestern Lehigh, Southern Lehigh, and Parkland all vying to keep their seasons alive. The Spartans and Trojans doing so last week by taking home the district hardware, which is where we begin this week's edition of Top Plays and Primetime Performers. Starting in the 6A class, where the finale featured a battle of Cedar Crest Boulevard. Parkland and Emmaus squaring off for the second time in 4 weeks. The Trojans were blanked in their regular season meeting. Parkland on the wrong end of a shutout for the first time in more than a decade. But the Trojans defense turned the tables on the Green Hornets in the finals, absolutely smothering and suffocating Emmaus from the get-go. The Hornets didn't cross midfield until late in the second quarter, only finally getting on the scoreboard with a field goal late in the final frame. Parkland with 5 tackles for loss on the night, plus 3 sacks, including 2 from senior Marcel Burden. Emmaus was limited to just 111 total yards and only 48 on the ground as the Trojans held their opposition to single digits in scoring for the 7th time this season. Sophomore T.J. Lawrence, well, he was a big part of Parkland's defensive prowess, blocking a field goal just before halftime before recording his first interception of the season, but the 10th grader also sparked the Trojans' offense as well, racking up over 100 total yards, 18 carries for 91 on the ground, which included a 6-yard scoring scamper in the second stanza that at the time gave Parkland a 10-0 edge. Lawrence also added a pair of receptions for another 29 yards. He's now got 12 rush TDs and 14 touchdowns in total this season. Parkland takes down rival Emmaus 17-3, and in so doing, claims the program's 12th district title. Tim Muntzman's team now 4-2 in district championship showdowns since 2016. That in 6A. Meanwhile, in 4A, the third time was the charm for Southern Lehigh. The Spartans falling in the 5A finale each of the last 2 seasons to Whitehall, but leaving no doubt against Bethlehem Catholic this year. A week after blanking Pottsville in the second half of the semis, Southern Lehigh's defense was in fine form from the jump against the Golden Hawks. After a fumble recovery by Noah Hoppel and an interception from Darius Roman, Lucas Sutyak recorded the Spartans' 3rd takeaway in just over 12 minutes of game action. They'd ultimately use a 4th turnover to seal it. Roman with his 2nd INT of the game. Over the final 6 quarters of the district tournament, Southern Lehigh allowed a total, folks, of just 7 points. Meanwhile, that Spartans offense scored 125 points over their 3 district outings, with the team's final 10 touchdowns all coming from running back Sean Stecker. After scoring all 6 of Southern Lehigh's TDs in the semis, the senior produced all 4 scores in the finals, carrying the ball 30 times for 184 yards and 3 tutties, finding pay dirt on 1, 8, and 61-yard scoring scampers. He also hauled in a throwback screen that produced an 8-yard touchdown, all part of a district tournament to remember for Steckert. Over 3 playoff games, the senior tailback turned 82 carries into 764 yards and 11 rushing TDs. He also added a trio of receiving scores, bringing him now up to 33 total touchdowns for the season. Southern Lehigh beats Becca 28-7 for the program's 2nd district title overall, its 1st since 2019. Northwestern Lehigh, meanwhile, has won 3 straight district crowns and is now back in the state quarters for a 3rd year in a row as well, after dismantling District 12 champion Conwell Egan in the opening round of the state 3A tournament last Friday. A game where Tigers junior Shane Humes did a little bit of everything. Northwestern broke a 7-all tie with 28 straight points in the second quarter, highlighted by 7- and 9-yard touchdown runs by Humes, who also hauled in a 21-yard reception on offense. While defensively, the junior registered 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble, as Northwestern held its opposition to single digits in scoring for the 11th time in 13 games this season. The most points anybody has against Northwestern this year, that was in Week 10, scored by the Southern Lehigh Spartans. Want to watch all of our SEN programming live? Anyone can for only $9.95 a month, no matter who your cable or internet provider is. Click the link below to download and sign up today.